Let's begin with some of the stories you're following for you. This evening, the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SMEs, has begun the process to replace existing biometric cards with the national ID cards by the National Identification Authority. This is an initiative to synchronize the country's ID system. The project, when successful, will capture details of pension contributors as well as beneficiaries onto the national ID card to be used as proof of citizenship. Ebenezer Sabute has the rest of the story.
The biometric card issued to contributors of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust will be phased out gradually when the National Identification Authority completes its registration process, which is expected to capture both citizens and non-citizens living in the country. According to the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, holders of the national ID card will not be required to have SNIT cards. Director General of SNIT, Dr. John Ofori-Tinkrang, said management has decided to stop issuing the cards in order to help with the synchronization process.
So management have sat down and looked at what we do and thought about how can we synchronize our work process, our business process, and leverage of the national ID. So SNIT has taken the decision to stop issuing biometric cards. We currently do it for pensioners and people who actually need it. But we are going to basically phase it out and take the national identification card, the Ghana card, as the card that we're going to use to authenticate any individual. And this is going to be SNIT contributors, pensioners, and also beneficiaries.
He spoke to Joy Business after two institutions, Trust Hospital Company Limited and Labadi Beach Hotel, presented dividends of about 500,000 and 1 million Ghana cedis respectively. Generally, the trust investment portfolio recorded a return of 5.77% in 2017 as compared to the loss it recorded in 2016, a significant success above the targeted 3.25%.
The real return that we made on our investments was about, I think, a loss of 5.3% or something like that. And then, but our management accounts for 2017, which are yet to be audited, posted a positive return of about 5.7%. So that's the figures that I threw out.
Okay. Ebenezer Sabute's report for Joy Business.
Ken Ofori-Atta is assuring the business community that government is working hard to resolve liquidity challenges within the financial sector. He, however, admitted that the development is as a result of ongoing reforms in the banking sector.
Business confidence in the country has dwindled largely because of current challenges in the banking sector. These include liquidity challenges and panic withdrawals that has hit some banks and savings and loans companies. Speaking at the 17th Ghana Club 100 Awards over the weekend in Accra, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, although blamed the harsh business environment to the ongoing reforms in the banking sector, said government is working to restore business confidence by next year.
2019, we did mention that we expect the banking crisis to be over, which means that there should be liquidity. We also talked about $1 billion program for industry to support that. And so the expectation is that at least the seeming liquidity crunch, should be over, and that should help. And if we continue, which we should, with the macro stability, I think the interest rates will continue to come down, which will be helpful for.
The Ghana Club 100 Awards celebrates business leaders and their contributions to the growth of the country's economy. This year's event, on the theme Technology, Innovation and Entrepreneurship, Opportunities for Growth and Job Creation, was graced by top business leaders and companies across the country. MTN Ghana was adjudged the best Club 100 company. Corporate Service Executive at MTN, Samuel Cranton, disclosed that the telecom giant will invest more in initiatives to excite customers.
This is a recognition of the hard work the management and staff have put into our business. And what has worked for us is we are focused on our network. We continue to invest in that network, and we continue to come up with innovative products that are relevant to our subscribers.
Other winners, including Cosmos Energy and Glyco Health, were equally delighted for the honor.
We've been consistent with our brown building. This year, we've been improving on our technological innovations and also seeing how we can add more value to our products. Because year on year, as we see in the health industry, is changing.
It has been a phenomenal year. A lot has happened to Cosmos Energy. KI is the Cosmos Innovation Center. We are doing all the right things in country. We are supporting the country in so many diverse ways through our KIC program. And I think Cosmos is a force to reckon with as a company. The first time we have been awarded the 4th place in country. That's the 4th best company in country. That is quite an award, and we are all very excited about it.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Yofi Grant, urged businesses to pay critical attention to the needs of their customers. He is therefore optimistic that the next awards process will be better. Ebenezer Sabute's report for Joy Business.
We want to bring you an update on one of our top stories tonight. For weeks now, there's been erratic power supply in parts of Accra. Now, this development has prompted an outburst among some Ghanaians, with many asking if the country is heading back to the dreaded days of doomsday. Well, a section of the public has also been asking government to come clean on the power situation. Well, Energy Minister John Peter Amewu has been reacting. He's been assuring the public that the situation will soon be resolved.
So the system of supply in terms of gas from Nigeria, it's gradually been stabilized. Our major challenges, ladies and gentlemen, has been the incomplete reverse flow project to allow gas to flow from the west to the east. As you are aware, we have a lot of gas that's stranded up in the Takoradi area, and there will be a need for this gas to be conveyed through the transportation system to Tema to feed on some of the generators. We had to fast track it through a bypass which has been completed but not connected to the West African gas pipeline yet. This is as a result of the authority, which we call the WAGBA, which had not fully come out to agree on the tariff. In an earlier discussions, they intend to put the tariff price at 3.2 MMBTU, while the ministry insists on $1 MMBTU. The discussion has persisted for weeks, but I'm happy to announce that the authority on Friday, November 24th, 2018, the West Africa Gas Pipeline, the regulator, has finally issued the final tariff notice of $1.7 per MMBTU. This will now be approved by the Committee of Ministers on the 30th of November 2018, this Friday, to pave the way for the signing of the gas transportation agreement that will allow the connections of the bypass to be executed. So we expect that by 30th of this month, when the gas transportation agreement is signed, we will be in a comfortable position to transport and evacuate gas from Takoradi to Tema Enclave.
Assurances from Energy Minister John Peter Amewu. You're watching Business Live. We're taking a short break. When we come back, the latest on the policy rate.
Welcome back to Business Live. To our main story tonight, and interest rates in the country are likely to remain unchanged at least for the next month. This follows the decision by the Bank of Ghana to keep the policy rate unchanged at 17%. This was after the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana met last week to review the health of the economy. We have more from a press conference organized by the Bank of Ghana earlier in the day.
Speaking at the Monetary Policy Committee meeting with journalists, the governor noted that the decision to hold the rate was in the right direction, looking at the current developments in the economy as well as the outlook.
With strong quarterly GDP growth turning in at 5.4% for the first 2 quarters of the year. This compares with an overall growth of 8.1% recorded in 2018. Non-oil GDP is also projected to expand at 5.8% compared with 4.6% in 2017. Provisional data on the execution of the budget indicated an overall fiscal deficit of 3% of rebased GDP in September 2018.
The governor also announced that 22 commercial banks have so far met the new capital requirement of 400 million Ghana cedis.
We expect that for those that will not be able to meet it on their own, they will go into merger arrangements, right? The idea is to pool resources together so that they will be able to meet the minimum capital requirement. All the data that I have seen so far tends to show that there is room for them to meet it in the next few weeks.
On the Ghana cedi, the governor argued everything is being done to firmly stabilize the local currency, but maintained that government must also contribute its bit when it comes to the fiscal measures.
And we have said this since the beginning of May, that until the pressures came in, the cedi was almost appreciating in the first 5 months of this year. So yes, the cedi reflected the improvements in the macroeconomic fundamentals up to May of 2018. We have had spillover effects from the emerging markets impacting since then. Fortunately for us, these effects have been temporal and it hasn't persisted as we speak. So going forward, we think that the cedi will reflect the fundamentals. We have to work on the fundamentals.
Well, it appears the current tango between the Ministry of Communications and the Bank of Ghana may not have ended after all. This is because answering questions from journalists, the governor maintained that every institution must respect the current provisions under the law. On the Consolidated Bank, the governor maintained that everything is being done to currently support the bank to ensure that it meets its obligations as a commercial bank. Dr. Ernest Addison was, however, optimistic that measures being implemented by government would go a long way to stabilize the economy come next year.
Let's now take a reaction from economist with Data Bank Courage Mate, who's been sharing his thoughts on the decision to hold the rate at 17%.
If you increase the rate, you are sending a totally different signal to the market. Let's remember that the policy rate is also a signaling tool, that the risk to the outlook has increased, and so I'm increasing the rate. So other rates should follow suit. Now, what are the risks to the outlook? They are basically inflation risks, right? But what we've seen in recent times is that inflation has dropped, remained within the central bank's target band. We have also seen the currency remaining stable. In recent times, we've seen a downturn, a sharp decline in world price or crude oil price on the world market. And that also means that there is some marginal improvement in the inflation outlook, but there are also some upside risks. Like we mentioned, the development in the external market as far as increasing policy rates in the US is concerned. We've also mentioned the fact that there's a potential increase or expansion from fiscal policy, which could jumpstart aggregate demand and push pricing pressures from the demand side up. In that particular situation, you notice that the upside risks may have balanced the downside risk to inflation. And so the prudent decision was just to maintain the rate where it is at 17%.
What about the implication on the cost of credit as well, since often this decision has a firm role in terms of cost of credit in the country?
Well, basically, we notice that the reference rate, the benchmark rate, is significantly influenced by the policy rate. The interbank rate is also very well aligned with the policy rate. if the policy rate remains unchanged, what you expect is that the reference rate will remain broadly stable at where it is, and the interbank rate should also remain broadly stable at where it is. The implication for cost of credit is that cost of credit should remain broadly unchanged. And in any case, you look at the loan portfolio growth, and it's not been growing significantly because there is a wedge between the pass-through effect, and that wedge is being created by the high NPLs, which is still about 20% right now. So even if you reduce the policy rate, the pass-through is going to be affected, reduced by this high NPLs level. So you don't want to reduce the policy rate with minimal impact. So you keep watching the developments with the NPLs asset quality and then move in tandem, but not without consideration for fiscal policy and external sector.
Away from the policy rate, Minister for Business Development Ibrahim Mohammed Awal says small and medium-scale enterprises as well as startups will in the coming month be exempted from the payment of taxes for a period of 3 years. He said this forms part of government's move to ensure that SMEs remain competitive in the Ghanaian market. The minister was speaking at the second Ghana SMEs and Young CEOs Summit in Accra.
The second Ghana SMEs and Young CEOs Summit, which was themed Corporate Leadership, Governance and Technology, Strong Pillars for Business and Economic Growth, saw captains of industry meet with budding SMEs on best ways to expand and remain competitive. Speaking at the event, Minister of Business Development Ibrahim Mohammed Awal explained how his sector aims to cushion SMEs from the high cost of doing business in Ghana.
Access to financing, very important. This year, we supported 1,350 with a lot of money. Next year, we're going to spend 100 million to support 5,000 of them. We're going to support 5,000 next year with 10% or below interest rates. That's next year. And they also give them access to markets. Once you produce, you must have market to sell your things. So we're linking them access to the global market. We'll land the Ghana online more.
Meanwhile, founder and CEO of Magdan Shipping Limited, Daniel Macaulay, has lamented what he described to be the shame of Ghana's top 5 SMEs not being within the $1 million bracket. He wants a holistic approach to improving the lots of SMEs and startups in the country.
I'm an example of not taking pride in my own self, of having $1 billion cap.
Joy Business also engaged the CEO of the Chief Executives Network Ghana, Ernest de Graft Ejuru, who believes a special ministry for SMEs will help government focus more on the industry.
The SMEs are the backbone of this economy. You have operational businesses, about 80% of them are SMEs. The GDP itself, the contribution of the SME is over 60%.
All right. We are done for today, right?
Yes, we are done. Assuring words from the Energy Minister to all of you experiencing power outages.
You are so lucky and I'm jealous.
Tonight, my name is Darryl Kwao.
And my name is Sandra S. And do log on to myjoyonline.com/business for more business updates. Good evening.